Admiral Veronik Kadri stood on the bridge of the U.S. Pathfinder, staring at the viewscreen with undisguised fascination. The creature displayed there was unlike anything humanity had encountered in their century of space exploration. "Magnificent," she whispered. The alien stood nearly 3 meters tall, with a bulbous head sporting 6 glowing eyes arranged in a semicircle. Its mouth, if you could call it that, was a vertical slit lined with pulsating barbs. For massive, tentacle-like appendages served as arms, each ending in wickedly sharp talons that could easily tear through the hull of their ship. Its torso was covered in chitinous plates, and where legs should be, it had a mass of writhing tentacles. "Ma'am, the translator is online," Lieutenant Oberon Thale reported. "The Mordai delegation is requesting permission to board." Commander Rafe Blackwood moved beside her, keeping his voice low. "Admiral, with all due respect, allowing those things on board might not be wise. We know nothing about them." Kadri smiled. "That's precisely why we're here, Commander. First contact protocol dictates. Protocol doesn't account for creatures that look like they crawled out of a nightmare," Blackwood countered. The Admiral's smile only widened. "Don't you think they're fascinating? Those bioluminescent patterns on their carapace. I've never seen anything like it." Dr. Amara Laszlo, the ship's xenobiologist, couldn't contain her excitement. The Mordai evolved in deep ocean trenches on a world 3 times Earth's gravity. Their physiology is remarkable. Imagine the evolutionary pressures. "They're terrifying," Ensign Pike muttered from a station. "They're beautiful," Kadri corrected. "Alien, yes, but that's what makes them wonderful. Prepare the main hangar bay for our guests. I want a full welcome ceremony." As the crew scrambled to prepare, Kadri studied the aliens more closely. Their movements were fluid despite their massive size, and she noticed intricate patterns in the way their tentacles coordinated. "Ma'am," Communications Officer Nyota Ebel said, "the Mordai representative says they're hesitant to board. They seem concerned about something." Kadri frowned. "Put them through." The view screen changed to show the Mordai delegation leader, its bioluminescent patterns pulsing rapidly. The translator processed its speech, a series of clicks, rumbles, and subsonic vibrations. "Admiral of humans," the computerized voice translated, "we are uncertain. Our appearance has caused distress among other species. We understand if you wish to conduct this meeting remotely." Kadri laughed, the sound warm and genuine. "Distress? On the contrary. My science team is practically vibrating with excitement to meet you. We find your species fascinating." The alien went still, all 6 eyes fixed on her. "You are not afraid?" "Afraid? No. Curious, yes. Eager to learn about you, absolutely. But afraid?" She shook her head. "We've been searching the stars for life like yours for generations." The Mordai's tentacles twisted in what the computer suggested was confusion. "Most species flee at first sight. You wish to welcome us." "With open arms," Kadri replied. "Though I understand if our appearance is off-putting to you." The Mordai's bioluminescence flickered in patterns that the computer couldn't translate, but somehow Kadri sensed was equivalent to laughter. "Perhaps," the alien said slowly, "humans are more unusual than we initially believed." The Mordai delegation moved through the Pathfinder's corridors with surprising grace despite their massive size. The ship's artificial gravity had been adjusted to accommodate their physiology, but they still seemed to float more than walk. Ambassador Grell, the delegation's leader, extended a tentacle toward the observation deck's viewport. "Your vessel travels through the void with such delicate construction. We find it concerning." Dr. Laszlo smiled, making notes on her tablet. "Our ships are quite sturdy by our standards. I imagine yours must be incredibly reinforced for deep space travel." "Indeed. The void is hostile. Predators lurk between stars." Grell's translator rendered the words in a flat tone, but the rippling colors across its carapace suggested something like pride. "Predators?" Lieutenant Thale perked up. "What kind of predators exist in deep space?" The Mordai delegation exchanged what appeared to be meaningful glances. Ambassador Grell's appendages twisted in a complex pattern before it responded. The Karth. Ancient. Vast. They consume energy and matter alike. Their hunting grounds span multiple sectors, in what you call the Orion Arm. Admiral Kadri leaned forward. Are they sentient? Hunting requires intelligence, Grell replied. But they do not build or trade. They only consume. Dr. Laszlo couldn't contain her enthusiasm. I'd love to see biological data on these Karth. Are they similar to your species? The Mordai's bioluminescent patterns dimmed. No. They are what your translator might call monsters. Most civilizations avoid regions where they hunt. Could we observe them safely? Kadri asked. The Mordai delegation vibrated in unison, their version of astonishment. You wish to observe the Karth? Grell's translator struggled with the concept. Not flee? Not hide. Commander Blackwood cleared his throat. Admiral, perhaps caution is warranted here. Kadri waved him off. Observation doesn't mean engagement, Commander. Knowledge is our primary mission. Humans truly are peculiar, another Mordai delegate commented. Most species instinctively flee from danger. Humans evolved as pursuit predators, Dr. Laszlo explained proudly. Our ancestors chased prey until it collapsed from exhaustion. Persistence is in our nature. And curiosity, Kadri added. We've always been drawn to the unknown. Ambassador Grell's appendages twisted in contemplation. Perhaps this explains why you do not fear our appearance. You see potential knowledge rather than danger. Exactly. Dr. Laszlo beamed. Your species represents an evolutionary path completely different from Earth's. Your biochemistry, your sensory apparatus, it's a scientific treasure trove. In our experience, Grell said slowly, most intelligent species evolved to recognize certain physical traits as threatening. Sharp appendages, multiple eyes, size disparities. Kadri laughed. Oh, we recognize those traits as potentially dangerous. We just find them fascinating rather than terrifying. Fascinating, Grell repeated, the translator unable to capture the complex harmonics in its voice. Your species' reaction defies prediction models. That's humanity for you, Kadri replied with a smile. Now, tell us more about these space-dwelling predators. And perhaps, afterward, you might join us for a cultural exchange? We've prepared a database of Earth's biodiversity for your scientists. As they continued their tour, the Mordai delegates seemed increasingly puzzled by the humans' reactions. Rather than maintaining a safe distance, the crew kept moving closer, examining their visitors with undisguised curiosity. Admiral, Grell said finally, I must report to my government that humans are exceptional. Your response to potentially threatening species is unprecedented in our records. I'll take that as a compliment, Kadri replied, as they entered the ship's massive arboretum. Now, Ambassador, let me show you some of Earth's own evolutionary marvels. 3 weeks into the cultural exchange with the Mordai, the Pathfinder sensors detected an anomaly at the edge of the star system. Commander Blackwood studied the readings with growing concern. It's massive, he reported to Admiral Kadri, and it's absorbing all directed scanning beams. Ambassador Grell's bioluminescence pulsed rapidly, the Mordai equivalent of alarm. It is as we feared. A Karth hunter has detected our presence. The view screen displayed only distortion against a starfield, like heat ripples above a desert road. As they watched, the distortion grew larger. It approaches. Grell's appendages twisted anxiously. We must prepare for immediate departure. Hold position, Kadri ordered. Activate observation protocols. Launch sensor probes. The Mordai delegation's colors fluctuated wildly. Admiral Kadri, you do not understand. The Karth is not merely dangerous, it is apex. No species has successfully studied one at close range. Then we'll be the first, Dr. Laszlo replied, already calibrating her instruments. Lieutenant Thale monitored the incoming sensor data. Whatever it is, it's bending light around itself. Some kind of natural cloaking mechanism. Fascinating, Kadri murmured. Tactical assessment, Commander? Blackwood frowned. Unknown offensive capabilities. Our standard shields are online, but effectiveness is questionable against an unknown entity. As the Karth drew closer, the distortion resolved into a massive form that seemed to shimmer between states of matter. Sometimes solid, sometimes gaseous, it resembled a colossal manta ray crossed with a jellyfish. Tendrils of darkness extended kilometers behind it, absorbing light and energy. Where its head should be, a cluster of crystalline structures pulsed with alien intelligence. "It's beautiful," Dr. Laszlo whispered, recording everything. "Beautiful." Grell's translator couldn't properly convey the mixture of shock and confusion in its subsonic tones. The Karth has consumed entire colonies. It is death incarnate. The massive entity slowed its approach, seeming to study the Pathfinder. One of its tendrils extended toward the ship, stopping just short of the shields. "It's scanning us," Lieutenant Thale reported. "Our systems are experiencing minor power fluctuations." "Countermeasures," Blackwood suggested urgently. "No," Kadri countered. "Let's not appear hostile. Continue passive observation." The tendril withdrew, and the Kartha's crystalline structures pulsed in a rhythmic pattern. "It's communicating?" Dr. Laszlo suggested. Ambassador Grell moved closer to the view screen, its massive form trembling slightly. "This is unprecedented. The Karth do not communicate. They hunt, they consume." "Everything communicates in some fashion," Kadri said. "The question is whether we can understand it." As if in response, the Kartha's form shifted, expanding until it dwarfed the Pathfinder. The view screen showed a kaleidoscope of colors rippling across its surface, patterns strikingly similar to Mordai bioluminescence. "It's mimicking you," Kadri realized, turning to Grell. "It's trying to establish communication using familiar patterns." "Impossible," Grell insisted. "The Karth are predators, not diplomats." Dr. Laszlo's eyes widened. "What if they're both? What if they consume not just energy, but information, knowledge?" The Kartha's tendrils formed a complex geometric pattern, holding steady. "It's waiting," Kadri said. "For what?" "A response," Dr. Laszlo suggested. "Admiral, with your permission, I'd like to attempt communication." The Mordai delegation's colors shifted to warning patterns. "This is madness. You cannot reason with a force of nature." Kadri studied the massive entity on the screen. "All life is a force of nature, Ambassador. And where there's intelligence, there's potential for understanding." She nodded to Dr. Laszlo. "Proceed with caution." The communication breakthrough with the Karth Hunter came not through words or mathematical sequences, but through images. Dr. Laszlo had the brilliant idea to transmit visual representations of different life forms from across known space, starting with the least threatening and gradually working up to predators. The Karth responded with impossible images, creatures that existed in 4 dimensions, beings made of crystallized time, entities that lived inside stars and gas giants. A cosmic menagerie beyond human comprehension. "It's a zoological exchange," Dr. Laszlo explained excitedly. "It's showing us life forms it has encountered." Admiral Kadri watched in fascination as the view screen displayed increasingly bizarre entities. "It's not trying to threaten us. It's sharing information." Ambassador Grell's appendages twisted in disbelief. 300 cycles of Mordai space exploration, and we never considered that the Karth might be curious rather than hungry. "Perhaps both," Kadri suggested. "Curiosity and hunger aren't mutually exclusive." The Kartha's next transmission showed humans, specifically images of the Pathfinder's crew interacting with the Mordai delegation. The perspective suggested the images had been captured from outside the ship. "It's been watching us," Commander Blackwood realized. "For how long?" "Since we entered the system, I'd wager," Kadri replied. "The question is, what conclusion has it drawn from its observations?" The answer came in the form of a new image sequence. Various species encountering the Mordai for the first time. Each showed the same reaction: fear, revulsion, defensive posturing. Then came images of humans with the Mordai, showing curiosity, excitement, scientific interest. "It's identified something unique about us," Dr. Laszlo said softly. The final image showed a Karth hunter approaching different alien vessels. Most fled immediately. Some attacked and were destroyed. None attempted communication. "It's lonely," Kadri whispered, the realization striking her like a physical blow. These entities traverse the void between stars, encountering other life forms that either flee or attack on sight. Lieutenant Thale looked skeptical. A predator that gets lonely? That seems anthropomorphic. Intelligence without social interaction is a special kind of hell, Dr. Laszlo argued. Even predatory species on Earth seek some form of connection. Ambassador Grell moved closer to the viewscreen, its massive form silhouetted against the image of the Karth. "For generations, we believed the Karth hunted us. What if they were merely curious?" "Not merely curious," Kadri corrected. "Hungry for knowledge. They consume energy, yes, but perhaps that's secondary to their true appetite, understanding the diversity of life." The Karth transmitted a new sequence. The Pathfinder surrounded by Karth hunters, with energy tendrils connecting them in a network formation. "Is that a threat?" Commander Blackwood asked tensely. Dr. Laszlo studied the image. "I don't think so. I think it's an invitation." "To what?" Kadri asked. "A symposium," Ambassador Grell suggested. "Bioluminescence, pulsing with excitement. A gathering of knowledge seekers." Kadri considered the implications. "Lieutenant Thale, prepare a response. Show the Karth that we accept its invitation, but we'll need time to prepare our ship and crew." "Admiral," Blackwood cautioned, "this could still be a trap." "It could be," Kadri acknowledged. "But it could also be the most significant xenological discovery in human history. The risk is worth it." As they formulated their response, the Karth hunter moved closer, its massive form now clearly visible against the starfield. What had initially appeared monstrous now seemed majestic. A cosmic entity evolved to traverse the void between stars, carrying within it the accumulated knowledge of countless worlds. "Remarkable," Kadri murmured. "We came seeking new life forms, and instead we may have found the universe's librarians." The Pathfinder's arrival at the Karth gathering point was met with astonishment from the assembled alien delegates. Located in deep space between star systems, the meeting place was a construct unlike anything humans had imagined. A massive web of energy filaments connecting dozens of Karth hunters, forming what appeared to be a temporary space station. "This defies all established knowledge of a Karth," Ambassador Grell's translator conveyed, as the Mordai delegation gazed through the viewports. "We believe them solitary hunters." Admiral Kadri smiled. "Perhaps they are, most of the time. Even Earth's tigers occasionally gather at watering holes." The Pathfinder docked within the energy construct, its shields harmonizing with the Kartha's bioelectric field. As the airlock cycled, Dr. Laszlo checked her environmental sensors one final time. "Atmosphere is compatible with both human and Mordai physiology," she confirmed. "Though I'm detecting energy signatures I can't identify." "Knowledge signatures," came a voice from their translators, not the flat computerized tone they were used to, but something rich and multifaceted. "What you perceive as atmosphere is also information medium." The delegation stepped through the airlock into what appeared to be a vast chamber with walls that shifted between states of matter. Around them were representatives from a dozen different species, each more alien than the last. A being composed of intersecting light beams approached them. Where the beams crossed, complex patterns formed that resembled facial features. "Humans," it said through their translators. "First species to approach Karth willingly. First to recognize Mordai as kindred rather than threat. We are Nexus, spokesperson for Karth Collective." Kadri stepped forward. "Admiral Veronique Kadri of the United Earth Ship Pathfinder. We're honored by your invitation. Honor is irrelevant. Understanding is purpose." The light being's patterns shifted rapidly. "Humans possess unique perception. You see beauty where others see threat. Evolution puzzle." Dr. Laszlo couldn't contain her excitement. "We evolved as predators who also valued cooperation. Our ancestors domesticated dangerous animals because they saw their potential value." "Domestication," the Nexus repeated. "Taming of threat. Humans tame fear itself." "Not exactly," Kadri replied. "We're still capable of fear. We just don't let it override our curiosity." The Nexus turned to the assembled alien delegations. Gathered species observe humans. They represent evolutionary branch previously theoretical. Predators who transcend predation psychology. Seek connection before safety. A reptilian being with iridescent scales stepped forward. This trait makes them vulnerable, not special. Their ships are fragile. Their bodies easily damaged. Yet they thrive, the Nexus countered. Expand. Explore. While Tzolk'in Empire contracts from fear of unknown. Ambassador Grell joined the conversation, massive tentacles gesturing expressively. The humans showed no fear when meeting Mordai. Instead, they exhibited appreciation for form that evolved in conditions hostile to their own. The gathered aliens murmured among themselves, their translators struggling to convert dozens of simultaneous conversations. Silence, the Nexus commanded, its light patterns intensifying. Council session begins. First agenda: human integration into galactic knowledge exchange. Kadri exchanged surprised glances with her team. I wasn't aware we were joining a formal council. All spacefaring species eventually join or perish, the Nexus stated simply. Those who refuse cooperation cannot survive cosmic threats. What threats? Commander Blackwood asked warily. The Nexus's light patterns dimmed. Space between spaces holds entities beyond comprehension. Some carts serve as barriers, consuming smaller threats before they manifest fully. Your protectors, Dr. Laszlo realized. Not just predators or knowledge seekers. All roles interconnected, the Nexus confirmed. As humans protect Earth ecosystems while simultaneously studying and consuming elements within. The reptilian delegate hissed skeptically. Humans are newcomers, untested. Their inclusion is premature. Yet they alone recognized Mordai and Karth as kindred intelligence rather than monstrous threat, the Nexus countered. This perception will be needed in cycles to come. Admiral Kadri felt the weight of responsibility settling on her shoulders. What exactly would human participation in this council entail? Knowledge exchange, cultural integration, defense cooperation. The Nexus's patterns formed what appeared to be a star map. And access to travel methods beyond your current technology. Dr. Laszlo gasped. You're offering to advance our capabilities. Advancement must be earned, the Nexus clarified. But paths will be shown. As the council continued, Kadri realized the implications extended far beyond first contact protocol. Humanity was being offered a seat at a table they hadn't known existed. A gathering of species that had been managing cosmic affairs while Earth was still developing written language. And it had happened because humans, alone among spacefaring species, looked at monsters and saw beauty. 5 years after the historic first council meeting, the U.S. Pathfinder 2 emerged from a Karth-engineered spatial fold near Earth, accompanied by an honor guard of Mordai vessels and a single massive Karth hunter. Admiral Kadri stood on the bridge, now bearing the additional title of Earth's representative to the Galactic Council. Home, she said softly, gazing at the blue planet on the view screen. It looks so small now. Dr. Laszlo, now director of xenological studies, nodded beside her. Small but pivotal. The Council archives confirm it. Earth is the only world in recorded history where the dominant species evolved to see opportunity in the alien rather than threat. The Pathfinder 2 entered Earth orbit, where a flotilla of ships waited to escort them to the newly constructed Harmony Station. Built using a combination of human innovation and alien technology, the massive space platform served as Earth's diplomatic hub for interstellar relations. Admiral Lieutenant Commander Thale reported from his station. We're receiving a priority transmission from Council Nexus. The view screen shifted to show the familiar intersecting light patterns of their Karth liaison. Representative Kadri. Preparations complete for Phase 2 integration. Yes, Nexus. Earth's governments have approved the public revelation schedule. The first 1,000 civilian ambassadors have completed their training. Excellent. The Tzolk'in delegation continues to protest, but they are outvoted. Kadri smiled. They'll adapt. Everyone does, eventually. Not like humans. The Nexus's patterns formed what they'd learned to recognize as amusement. No species adapts with such enthusiasm. As they docked with Harmony Station, Kadri reflected on the journey that had brought them here. What had begun as a routine exploration mission had transformed humanity's place in the cosmos. All because they'd looked at tentacled, many-eyed aliens and thought fascinating instead of terrifying. The station's main conference chamber was filled with representatives from Earth's nations, all waiting anxiously for their first glimpse of the alien delegations. Ambassador Grell had suggested that the Moradai enter first. Their imposing appearance would be the perfect test of humanity's collective reaction. "Are you certain this approach is wise?" Grell asked as they prepared to make their entrance. "Your political leaders have only seen images. The physical reality of our presence may trigger instinctive responses." "Trust me," Kadri replied. "Humans have been preparing for this moment since we first looked up at the stars. Besides, we've spent the last 5 years saturating our media with accurate depictions of your species." The massive doors slid open, and Ambassador Grell led the Moradai delegation into the chamber. Their enormous forms, writhing tentacles, and multiple glowing eyes created an immediate hush. Then, from somewhere in the back, a child's voice piped up. They looked like the plushies. Laughter rippled through the crowd, breaking the tension. Indeed, Moradai plushies, soft toys based on the released images, had become the most popular children's toy of the previous year. Ambassador Grell's bioluminescence flickered in what Kadri now recognized as embarrassment. "Your species' reaction remains unpredictable." Earth's Secretary General stepped forward. "On behalf of humanity, I welcome the representatives of the Galactic Council. For generations, we imagined this moment, first contact with intelligent life from beyond our world. We prepared for fear, for conflict, for misunderstanding. Instead, we found friends." The Karth Nexus entered next, its intersecting light beams casting patterns across the chamber walls. Several delegates gasped, but it was clear from their expressions that it was awe, not terror. "Humanity," the Nexus addressed them. "You stand at threshold of wider universe. Many wonders await. Many dangers also. Your greatest strength is not technology or numbers, but perception. You see beauty in difference, potential in the alien. This trait rare among starborn species." Dr. Laszlo stepped forward. "We've learned that what we once called monsters were simply beings evolved under different conditions. Understanding this has been the key to our survival and advancement as a species. And now," Admiral Kadri added, "that understanding will help us forge a future where all intelligent life can coexist and thrive." The Secretary General raised her hands. "Let this day be remembered as the beginning of Earth's true participation in galactic civilization, not as newcomers or junior partners, but as equals who bring a unique perspective to the cosmic community." Ambassador Grell's massive form shifted in what had become the Moradai equivalent of applause. When the Karth first brought news of a species that viewed the Moradai without fear, many doubted. Now, none can deny humanity's exceptional nature. "The universe has long been filled with beings that developed intelligence," the Nexus added, "light patterns forming complex geometries. But humans developed wisdom alongside it, the wisdom to see past appearances to the essential qualities that unite all thinking beings." As the formal ceremony continued, Admiral Kadri stepped away to gaze out the station's viewport. Earth rotated serenely below, while the massive form of the Karth hunter glistened against the starfield. Beyond it, the first ships of the combined fleet were assembling, humanity's contribution to the galactic community's defense force. Commander Blackwood joined her, his initial skepticism long since replaced by cautious optimism. "Who would have thought our greatest asset in space would be our inability to be properly frightened?" Kadri laughed. "It's not inability, it's perspective. We see the universe not just as it is, but as it could be." "And that," came Ambassador Grell's rumbling voice as the Moradai leader approached, "is why humanity's destiny among the stars will be extraordinary. Where others built empires based on conquest or isolation, you will build bridges." The Karth Nexus joined them, its light patterns gentle. In cycles past, Council debated intervention on Earth. Many argued humans too aggressive, too curious for safety. Now we understand these traits properly channeled create species uniquely suited for cosmic community. Admiral Kadri smiled as she watched Earth's representatives mingling freely with beings that most other species would consider nightmarish. Children were asking to touch the Moridi's tentacles. Scientists were eagerly discussing evolutionary biology with insectoid delegates. Artists were attempting to capture the ephemeral beauty of the Kartha's light patterns. When the universe realized humans think monsters are adorable, Kadri said quietly, it changed everything, for them and for us. The Nexus's patterns shifted into what Kadri had learned was their expression of profound agreement. Not merely adorable, Admiral Kadri. You saw potential allies where others saw only threats. And in doing so, you have helped reshape the very nature of interstellar relations. As night fell over Earth, lights from Harmony Station cast a new constellation in the sky, a symbol of humanity's unique place in the cosmos, as the species that looked at the monsters of the universe and decided to make friends.